Okay, here we go. Let me just tell everyone that I'm live. Oh no, I need to copy. That would help. The link. So, welcome. This is something different for me. I'm doing some tier 4 streams tonight, and probably tomorrow as well. I think I'll have some time to do it. So let's see what the standings look like. In tier 4, we're doing the feature race here at Watkins Glen. This will be my first. I'm aiming to do the rest of the season, I reckon, over the next few days. So you're going to have lots of tier 4 white action coming. So after round 2, the situation in the standings, Matthew had a great start in the opening couple of rounds. 2 tracks that really did clearly suit the Dodge Viper, because he's in first place and his teammate Jezza is in second place, heading into some tracks in the second half of the season, which are going to be a bit more tough for the Dodge before the very last race of the season at Le Mans, which should be pretty nice. So should Saint Croix, which will be the one that I do later tonight, round 4. Largo and Dragon Trail and Blue Moon, they might struggle a little bit with the tight, twisty, slower corners, but at the moment it's looking really good for the Dodge Viper team. In third place is Boa, who's in the Nissan GTR 13, the worst version of the Nissan. We got Udale in P4. He won the feature at Tokyo. And then we've got someone who got banned. And then in 6th place, we've got Juho, who always performs well. Better in the feature races usually than in the sprints. But I can see he finished 3rd in the sprint here. Then we got Zelda P7. CI SDS PM is 8th. After only getting 1 podium in the opening 4 races. Actually DNF'd the feature. Didn't score any points in round 1. So his P8 is courtesy of the previous round. Then we have Schumacher in 9th and Hulk, who is new, in 10th. But today, let's see who won the sprint race. It was, a Citroen 1-2. So the Citroen car seems to be very good now. Juho also getting a sprint race podium, which is nice to see. But Udale is going to be on reverse grid pole. The strategies are going to be pretty interesting because in my tier, a medium soft strategy won the race. So it is possible if you've got a car that can do it and you are good on tire saving as well, which is also obviously a very important thing. Let's have a quick look at the tires everyone's on as soon as I get the stream up on my iPad. There we go. So you got hards. So the hard medium is what I did. I finished 2nd in the feature with that. I think most people, will be trying to do the hard medium. Potentially medium hard, or potentially a 2-stop. The 2-stop is definitely slow around here, but some people might feel that they have to do a medium soft, for example. Monty might be one of those. Then we got Wally, who is also known as Fred Monster. He is going to start in 3rd on the hards. Falcon on the hards in 4th. He's in the Ford GT, which is pretty good on its tires, the Ford GT, around a track like this. Matthew in the Dodge is 5th, so he finished 6th in the sprint, so not as good around here, which is kind of expected. NTO is in P6 in the Renault. The Renault is good around here. Expedit X, I'm going to call him Bendit, is in 7th. Juho, Charizard, and Shadow, who is all... I'm going to call him Shadow, because that's a bit easier to say than his Discord name, in 10th. Khan in 11th outside the points with Munkin. Jezza outside the points, even though you started the day in 2nd in the championships. That will be a big hit. Rocket, who is a champion, struggling in the Nissan GTR 13. And then we got Boa down in 50th as well, a little bit lower than you'd expect. And the same with Doslayer, down in 16th, lower than we'd expect. So let's get this feature race up and running and see what the medium-tired Monty can do on this opening lap against Udale. So everyone, looked like a little bit of a look into the corner. No, everyone taking it pretty much in formation here. Looks like Juho's actually lost a position to Charizard at the very start, coming under a little bit of pressure from Shadow there. Everyone else pretty much as they started. It looks like Zelda had a really dodgy start. Obviously will have been starting before the final corner. Let's see what happens with the run down into the really tricky fast chicane that we've got. Everyone kind of lining up in formation to take the corner. NTO defending a little bit from Bendit there, and everyone has taken the corner pretty comfortably there, and then here comes Zelda at the end. So Udale still defending really hard from Monty on this opening lap. Let's see what they can do around this little tricky corner where you can gain a lot of time if you're really brave on the throttle. Monty looks like he's sending it into the corner. Udale gives him the space. And there's been some contacts on lap 1 as well. Monty gets absolutely shafted up the back as well. Udale and Monty dropping, and that is going to promote. Yeah, I don't know. Is he waiting for Doslayer? I think I don't know what he's doing there. I don't know why he was waiting to go all the way to the back. I don't think. So there's the contact, a little bit too early on the throttle on the exit there, then gets bumped by Wally. That means Wally loses the position to Matthew, so Matthew is our new race leader. He's got a comfortable lead heading into this next corner, a tight right-hander, as we go through some slower corners to end off the lap. But it's looking good for him. Then we got NTO up into second ahead of Wally, who's still got the damage over these next few corners. Bendit's up to 4th, Falcon's up to 5th, Charizard 6th, Juho 7th, Shadow gets 2 positions there as well. So basically everyone up a couple. It looks like Shadow having a look around the outside of Juho. Juho instead goes for a bit of a move on Falcon there. Wonder if that was reported. And then Shadow's going to try and follow through on his countryman, but Falcon gets a great exit there. Shadow is going to have to tuck in behind as we start lap 2. Let's see if he's going to go for a move into turn 1. It's not advisable, especially from that far back. Falcon gives him way more space than he was entitled to, and as a result gets a pretty dodgy exit there out of turn 1, and Shadow's going to swoop through up into 3rd. Let's see what Juho's up to. It looks like he's putting some pressure on Charizard. Charizard's on the hards, so the fact that he got ahead of Juho at the start is not great for Juho's progress in this sprint. He needs to get past Charizard quickly because Charizard's going to start holding him up on those hard tyres. He needs to make progress up the field to take advantage of this stint. Charizard placing his car perfectly though, and that will make him difficult to overtake here. Oh, a lot of people going a bit wide around that corner. That means Charizard's going to close the gap a little bit on Wally. Wally's now lost his damage, and Bendit trying to get up into P2 it looks like. NTO's on the hards as well. So we've got another one. Bendit is the lead of the drivers who are on the mediums. The top two, both of them are on the hards. So, yeah, Bendit needs to get past NTO pretty quickly here. He's really late on the brakes. Potentially NTO's a little bit too early on the brakes because Bendit still made the corner there pretty comfortably and gets himself up into P2 with what I would probably say is an accidental overtake there. And now Bendit should be able to drive away. Charizard's still comfortably ahead of Juho. Juho ahead of Shadow. Shadow's on the hards as well, so he'll be going long in this stint, I'm sure of it. Although he gets that last corner a little bit wrong. I wonder if that's going to be a penalty for him. Falcon already about a second down on Shadow, despite that mistake Shadow did. So, yeah, he's definitely got the pace. That was a 48.7 compared to a 49.5 for the two of them. And then rounding out the top 10 is Khan just on his hards ahead of Munkin on his mediums, getting a really bad exit out of turn 1. Going to come under pressure from Boa here up the hill. But Boa catches him at the worst possible time as you are going up the hill around the corners. What he wanted to do was catch him round about here so that he could launch a move up the inside, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch him now. No, he has to back out of it. Khan takes the bus stop a little bit dodgy there, and that's going to potentially allow Munkin to have a go, but yeah, a little bit more contact. Not the best racy there from Munkin, and Khan keeps the position as a result of it. We've got a few drivers close together. It looks like Shadow's, well, something's happened to Charizard. He's lost a position to Juho somewhere. It looks like Juho's getting him up the hill. Okay. But then how does everyone bunch up? Let's see. I'm guessing it's going to be more towards the bus stop here. Everyone just starts to catch up and bunch together. Charizard gets a poor exit there. And that is why Falcon's suddenly catching up, because Shadow has to take a bit of a strange route through there. So Shadow and Charizard are teammates. I think Charizard will want to be letting Shadow through fairly quickly if he realises that Shadow's got the pace here. Obviously the sprint race winner as well. So they have to find the perfect moment, because Falcon could easily slip on through as well if Charizard slows down too much here. Although Falcon did have a little twitch coming out of that corner. There we go. NTO served a penalty, it looks like. He's lost a couple of positions. Falcon's going to try and get through as well. Falcon going around the long way. And he's going to hold it around the outside. This is going to become the inside for the next corner. Really tricky one. You definitely can't go side by side through this one. And Falcon gets the position a little bit slidey on the exit. So NTO is going to stay close behind. So NTO's lost the position to Falcon. They're on the same strategy as well. So that is bad news for NTO. Looks a little bit so far, even though it's only been 2 laps, to have a bit more pace than Falcon. The Renault should be much better around here than the Ford. Shadow having a little, he's getting a bit impatient behind his teammate now. He's going to have to bump draft him up this section of the hill. Oh no, Charizard just lets him completely through there. That's potentially going to allow Falcon to close the gap pretty quickly on Charizard. That was, like I said, you have to try and time an overtake like that at the right opportunity. I think going up a full throttle section of the track isn't the best place, but he didn't lose another position. He's lost a good 2.5 seconds to Shadow though. Battle for P3. Wally's back up in 3rd, so... Oh no, he was in 3rd anyway. So Wally's in 3rd ahead of Juho, who's progressed nicely up to 4th. So him and Shadow making some really good progress, especially in the feature race. Juho's on the mediums and Wally's on the hards. So and Bendit has actually caught up to Matthew already on his mediums. So we'll have to see what these guys on the mediums can do, if they can get overtakes done in the next lap or so that they can start creating the gap that they need to make this strategy work. Wally ahead of Juho, ahead of Shadow in this battle for P3. Charizard dropping a little bit off the back of them. And then in the battle for P1, it is going to start getting close here. The Viper struggles through the slower sections of the track. It's a car that like struggles to turn in general, but it does have huge advantages to it that most other cars could only dream of, especially the starts. On a standing start, you could get what, like 3 positions into every corner, so whatever you lose in qualifying you gain in the sprint race. It gives you a fighting chance, especially if it's a long run down to turn 1. Acceleration is also incredibly good on this car, so from here until the end of the sector where the braking zone is, even though Bendit came out of that pretty close to Matthew's just going to comfortably stay ahead of him, because the problem is, even if Bendit was close enough to pull out of the slipstream, once you lose the slipstream, the Viper will just start pulling away again. So it's a very hard car to overtake, very frustrating. You have to really adjust your driving style when you're driving behind it as well. But yeah, all in all, not a bad car for the calendar. Matthew's made it work really well so far this season, and he's leading in the feature race here at round 3 on the hard tyres as well. So you could say his strategy is working out absolutely perfectly here. Juho's got himself a 2-second penalty. He is battling with Wally, but this is going to penalise him massively. He's definitely losing these 2 positions, potentially more. Wally having to go wide round there. He might put himself under a bit of pressure from Shadow, who's trying to take advantage. Shadow's going to move up into 4th place now. Someone sounded like they were spinning a little bit there, but everyone... Oh, there's Khan, and someone else is in the wall a little bit further back. Rocket, that is. Right, what happened? What happened with Khan? Is he going to lose it on his own? Boa nearly loses it, and Khan definitely loses it. Remember, we have ghosting turned off, so you need to do your best to try and avoid all of the ghosting. So there's Rocket, there's Khan. You're going to get going again. Monty's up into 12th now after his first lap incident. Jez is up to 11th, still not in the top 10, but he's on the hards just like his teammate. Munkin in the top 10. NTO, yeah. And then we've got this nice little battle for P3 going on between Shadow and Wally. Citron's another one that's got very good acceleration but bad top speed. So it's pretty much the Citron, the opposite of the Dodge. It also gets good starts, which helps, but it's much better in the corners and much worse at the top speed. So basically the opposite tracks to the Dodge, this car should be very good at. Here we go. The acceleration is going to help him stay with the Ford. Now he's in 7th gear. Is he going to be able to pull alongside? No, he can't. The Ford has a little bit too much beans, but Wally makes a little bit of an exit mistake on the entrance into the bus stop. But Shadow can't capitalize on it. Charizard's still within range as a result of that. Now Wally's gone very wide on the exit, and that's going to be an easy position for Shadow. Shadow from 10th up to 3rd already, and it's only lap 3. A little bit further up, it looks like Bendit is putting some pressure on Matthew now. So Matthew is coming out of this corner a little bit slidey, and Bendit is going to think about going for a move on the inside. Matthew covers that off pretty nicely. Heading down into the next corner, Bendit's going to have to try and do it around the outside. Maybe a cutback's on. No, Matthew covers it off pretty well there. So he's going to survive for a few more corners at least. Dodges a bit of a wide car as well when you're trying to get an overtake done. And he pulls away a little bit from Bendit. Oh, there we go. They've actually got almost identical front tyre wear, despite one of them being on hards. The rears are much worse on Bendit's car, though. Bendit's in the Honda NSX, which is a very interesting car. The NSX has, I would say, it's got poor fuel and it's got poor tyres, which makes it not very good in feature races. But it is one of the quickest on a single lap. It's got great top speed, it's got great acceleration, it's great off the line on a standing start. So in a sprint race, you're absolutely sorted. But the feature, you've really got to put that pace to use, because you're going to be spending more time in the pits putting fuel in. The end of stints are going to be a little bit dodgy, just like that slide through the bus stop. He's lost a good 1.5 seconds there to Matthew with that. So a bit more hard work to do for Bendit. Worried that when he makes his pit stop, he's going to either have to do a 2-stop where he's going to be having to do some overtakes, or potentially going on the hard tyres, which is going to drop him into the clutches of these guys who are chasing. We've got Shadow, we've got Wally, we've got Charizard, we've also got Falcon and Juho, all pretty close, and all of them are on hard tyres as well. Wally going really wide there. That might open the door for Charizard to get 2 Citrons into the top 4. You got Falcon and Juho having a little battle further back as well. Falcon having to go defensive. Juho's just going to send it around the outside. Is he going to be able to get a good exit? Falcon covers him off beautifully there. You can't really send it into this corner, but he does, and Falcon gives him loads of space there. So an easy overtake for Juho in the end. And now Charizard's going to try and take Wally here. You can't really go side by side through there as well without losing loads of time, which means Juho's going to close right up to them, because they are still side by side. They'll lose more time here. Neither of them could get the move done on the other, and Wally is finally going to have to slot in behind Charizard, trying to get the slipstream, but he might get dive bombed here from Juho and lose another position. Juho can't get alongside, and Wally keeps it now, and he could get the position back on Charizard with a good exit there. Looks like Bendit's already caught Matthew up ahead as well. Let's have a quick check of that. Yeah, Matthew must have made a slight mistake somewhere at the end of the lap, because Bendit's caught the gap pretty fast. And he's got a lot more grip around here, which you'd expect on the mediums. The rear left is starting to look poor though. I think we're below 40% left on that tyre, so he's not going to have too many more laps out on these mediums. And then he's going to try and take a wide entry, potentially a tight exit to get a good run. He does have a good exit. Matthew's still going defensive. He's definitely not wanting to give up this position anytime soon. So what can Bendit do? He's not really alongside to have much of a move there, but he's going to get a great exit, and he's got the inside for the next corner. If he can keep his car there, is he brave on the brakes? Looks like Matthew braked early to try and get a good exit, but Bendit blocked him off. He couldn't do anything about it, and that is P1. Now Bendit has maybe 3 more laps to try and build a nice cushion before he makes his first pit stop. I can't really remember what lap everyone came into the pits. Shadow started to catch them pretty quickly. Charizard has not kept up with him. Juho and Falcon and Wally still pretty close together. Then we got a gap to NTO in 8th. Boa just ahead of Monty, who's making his way through the field pretty nicely here, back into the top 10. He's going to try another move on Boa, it looks like. And Boa gets a better exit through that corner. Then we got Zelda Udale after his first lap. Wipeout down in 14th on the hard tyres. Still not too far away from the top 10 though, and Rocket really struggling. So Bendit has started to build a gap. Maybe he's got a second and a half on Matthew right now. So Matthew's still keeping him honest. Is everyone still in the same positions? I think they were. Monty has got past Boa. So what's going to happen here? Oh, did he hit the... I think he hit the barrier. Let's have a look. Let's try and see. I think he just got the entry wrong. A bit like what Yuki Tsunoda did in practice yesterday. If he hits the inside barrier here... Yeah, he does. Oh dear. It was going pretty well. He made his way really nicely through the field. He's still in 10th. He's currently got Jezza behind, who might know that he's got damage. He might not. If you do know someone's got damage, you're feeling a little bit braver because they can't make the corners the same. Otherwise, you're just going to get held up along with them. Oh, Jez is struggling through the corner there. Munkin starting to get close now as well. Looks like someone's got a penalty. That's Doslayer. He's going to drop off and try to recatch the group. He's in the GR Supra, which is quite a nice car. At this stage, it hasn't had the BOP update yet, which apparently made it a little bit worse. Starting lap 10 now. So we're approaching the halfway point, and Shadow is now with the top 2. Another driver who's on the hards would definitely pass the crossover point with how good the the mediums are, because look at the rear left on Bendit's car. It is going to be crying potentially through some of these corners, the entry into this bus stop, and then the sweeping right-hander that immediately follows it are going to be a little bit of a struggle for him. Shadow looking incredibly pacey here, and then a little bit further back, Charizard and Juho going side by side. Citroen versus, I think that's a Nissan that Juho's driving. The new Nissan, good one. Or is it a Lexus? No, it is the Nissan GTR 18. Charizard holding him off pretty well anyway. So let's ride on board with Shadow, who gets a really good exit there, takes the corner fully. Matthew getting a lot of oversteer actually in that corner. Hard spell awful. Yeah, you just have to kind of survive the hard stint, and then you got to push a lot more on the mediums. What's he going to do? Is he going to be brave? He doesn't. He tucks in back behind Matthew. Can't get the move done just yet. So this is still advantage Matthew in this race. He is on the same strategy by the looks of things as Shadow. Let's see what Bendit's going to do. He could probably get another lap out of these medium tyres. Is he going to come in? No, he's going to carry on for one more. Let's see what is... Oh, look at that. That's another corner that the rear left is going to cry about. Those corners are the reason why the rear left is in such a bad state, to be honest. So 48.7. a little bit quicker than Matthew and Shadow on that lap. So still getting some decent pace there is Bendit. Shadow wrestling the car back onto the track after it wanted to nearly give him a time penalty for going too wide. Duo's got another fantastic run on Charizard. And Charizard's going defensive just in case. He's going to compromise his line through the bus stop though. And he covers it off pretty well. Juho hasn't really been able to get much of a look in, even though it looks like Juho's a little bit more comfortable even on his mediums right now. His front left as opposed to the rear is the one struggling because it's an FR car. The rears are worse on the MR and the fronts are worse on the FRs generally, most of the time. I think Juho might have to come into the pits this lap, even though he's still showing some good pace. One more lap out, you don't want to get into puncture territory. A little bit further up, this is Shadow's best chance that he's had yet. He still wasn't able to get alongside. Matthews left him the space though, and he couldn't really get on the throttle without collecting Matthew. He had to back out of it, and Matthew survives again one more time. Let's see what Bendit's going to do. Is he going to stay out for one more lap? It is possible. Matthew having to defend around this corner. Let's see what Bendit's going to do. He is carrying on for one more. So he's doing a 11 strategy. He's going to do 11 on the hards by the looks of it. Matthew having to go defensive into turn 1 already really early on. Shadow is going to try and get into the slip instead. Again, Matthew's going defensive, so his line around turn 1 is not going to be as good as Shadow's. And this is, if it was in any car apart from the Dodge, this would have been the ideal gap to the car in front. You just stay completely in the slipstream and draw alongside towards the braking zone. But look how the Viper accelerates, and it's going to keep doing that. And yeah, the Citroen just can't close the gap at all. So now that we're in off-season, these are the kind of things to think about, especially when you see the calendar. What kind of car would you be preferring to be in this kind of situation? Oh, good little exit there from Shadow, but Matthew really held it with the tight line. And yeah, there's not much Shadow can do here, so this is really good for Bendit, who's going a little bit slow now on his mediums. You can see he's a little bit closer this time around, despite these two fighting and defending. So this is keeping his cushion pretty nicely. Now what he needs is to come into the pits, put on the hards, and come out in some clear air, and have these two battle for a few more laps and get in each other's way. And he should come out after the pit stops with a more comfortable gap than what he currently has. But time will tell on that. In comes Bendit, and in comes Shadow as well. So Shadow is electing to do 11 on the mediums. Let's see what everyone else is up to. Charizard coming in. Wally's carrying on. He's going to be promoted into P2. Juho's coming in. Falcon's definitely getting a 3 second, but he is coming in. Now, what's going to happen here? If anyone carries on for another lap and the driver in front... Nope, they're all carrying on, actually, these hard-tired guys. Khan, that's going to be a 3 second penalty for cutting the yellow line, sorry, on the pit entry. Rocket and Monty, who's dropped back to 14th after his pit stop. He's got a 1.5 seconds to serve there. Then we got Munkin and Boa. So let's see where Bendit comes out. It is going to be, yeah, there's a 3 second penalty. Ooh, all this hard work with the strategy is not going to be paying off for Bendit then. He's going to drop behind Monty, who's got a 1.5 seconds himself, and also Rocket, who hasn't made his pit stop yet. Look how worn those hard tyres are. That is rough. Monty's potentially going to go for the move on Bendit now. This actually might be Bendit's hopes of a podium gone. Monty's actually going to do the 2 stop though. So he's done 2 sets of mediums now. That's why he's already ahead of Bendit. He put in a lot less fuel in his pit stop. Bendit on the hards now. So yeah, he's not going to be in the way of... Well, Monty's not going to be in his way because he's just going to drive away even after the penalties. Matthew carrying on, his fuel's pretty much empty now, so he's definitely going to have to come into the pits. That's the other good thing about the Dodge. It is pretty good on its fuel. You can short shift massively. It doesn't look like Matthew is short shifting and he still lasted this long. So yeah, the fuel saving is amazing on this car, and the Corvette in particular, when you can short shift and not really lose any time. Into the pits he comes. I'm assuming Wally's going to follow him round. Then we got Udele in P3 in this Toyota GR Supra. He's going out for another one. Here in comes Jezza. Let's see if he can get in without Doeslayer. Yeah, Doeslayer has to take a little wider line around the corner and sees it a mile away. So Bendit, after serving his penalty, is having to go the long way around Rocket, who overtook him because of the penalty. He is in 8th. Let's see where he comes out compared to someone like Wally, for example. Wally was a good few seconds behind. Juho is coming out as well. Looks like Bendit's going to be ahead of them. Juho's in P6. Matthew is coming out in P7. Side by side with Monk. Looks like he's two-stopping, and yeah, that looks like the hards for Juho, and it's going to be the mediums for Matthew until the end. Crucially, he's still ahead of his rival, who tries to get the undercut with fresher tyres. So this is a nice little advantage for Matthew versus Shadow. He's come out of the pits. He's going to have slightly colder tyres coming out of the pits. They are colder then at the race start as well when you make a pit stop and put on fresh tyres. So these first few corners aren't going to be at optimal speed, which is usually why you see some drivers who have already done a hot lap really harassing them, trying to get an overtake done. Nothing Shadow can do here, but he is very, very close. Yeah. Oh, that might be a penalty for Shadow. Matthew obviously drives away. Yep, there's the half second. So I'll show you exactly how that happens. So obviously you saw he went wide. There is a little bit of cement on the left here that you can drive on. You can't really go any further to the left than where he is now. And then you can see here, let's go into photo mode and I'll show you. He's fully off the track. You can see the asphalt in between the tyres, and that is where you get the half-second penalty. Even though it looked like he did try and lift to try and mitigate that. Maybe that's why he got away with a half second. He's at full throttle right now. And then he lifted before he rejoined the track. So yeah, that might have helped him avoid like a full second penalty there. A little bit further up, whereas Munkin is coming under a lot of pressure from Matthew now. Matthew wants to get this move done and try and escape Shadow, especially when he's got this half second penalty. Udele's in the pits now. So we're going to see NTO potentially carry on into the lead of the race. Has NTO made a pit stop yet? He hasn't. So this Renault is just a monster on fuel. Carrying on for 15 laps on the hards. He's going to have the freshest tyres towards the end of the race, because these last laps are going to be a struggle for some of them who've made early pit stops. Monty is going to carry on for a good few laps and then go on to the softs for the end. So he might actually catch NTO. But he's going to take the lead of the race shortly. It's looking pretty good for Bendit, even though he had a 3-second penalty to serve and all that kind of stuff. He is ahead on the hard tyres. Juho's also on the hard tyres. They're ahead of Munkin, who's going to come in again. Matthew's got a second penalty now. So that's even worse than what Shadow's got. So it's falling apart for these two, because they were comfortably in the top 3. And they're both going to lose a lot of time. There's going to be Charizard and Falcon not too far behind, but yeah, Juho's the big winner through the pit stops for sure, jumping ahead of these two anyway. So Juho's in a net P2 now. I did say before the start of the race, he does tend to come alive in the features, and I think he's proving that here. Maybe he's just better at managing fuel. He's in the Nissan GTR, it has decent fuel, he's just upshifting normally, not over-revving it or anything. So there's the penalties for Matthew and Shadow. Shadow's going to get past Matthew since his penalty was half a second shorter. So a bit of a disaster there for Matthew. Shadow might be able to drive away now, potentially put some pressure on Juho a bit further up later in the race. Juho's not too far behind Bendit, so this is a nice little battle for P1. NTO's coming into the pits, that's going to be a 3-second penalty for him. Monty is now taking the lead of the race. Let's just see what happened here. Oh my goodness. Just a big mistake there from NTO, completely overshooting, but Monty reacted to it really well and actually cut into the pit lane to get the overtake done. But yeah, that's a definite 3-second going at NTO's way. Bendit cruises through into P2, but it is technically a net P1. Monty is going to come out a little bit further down. He could have potentially won this race, Monty, if he didn't have that lap 1 incident. This is some good pace that he's showing in this Lexus. He's got the fastest lap as well, a 46.3. These guys are starting their medium stints, some of them. They might be able to get down there. I wonder if anyone's going on the softs towards the end. Matthew, Shadow and Charizard's actually caught up pretty nicely to this pack again. Then we have Falcon and Wally, the two Ford GTs, pretty close together on track. Wonder if they'll be working together now. Is that a little bit of lag? No, it's just a little bit of hairy driving. Udale doesn't have to pit again, he's on mediums, so he could get still a good top 8. Remember, he started on pole, got wiped out on lap 1. Yeah, he's completely dropped Jezza. Jezza and Zelda pretty close. Zelda going for it on the inside. Gets that position very nicely on Jezza. Jezza struggling around Watkins in the Dodge. Jezza is a former champion, has won at tier 4 level before. Famously the only ALR driver in history to win a championship without winning the race at any point in the season, but huge consistency that season. Bit of a better car than the Dodge in terms of being a good all-rounder. That's the other thing that you have to think about when you're planning your season. Is your car like a jack of all trades, master of none, which some of these tend to be, or are they overpowered on certain circuits? Are they better on the short ones and bad on the long ones, or vice versa? You could be going for the glory race win results, or you could be going for the consistent points. It depends what you prefer and what your own individual expectations are, I suppose, coming into a season. I kind of went this time for a jack of all trades. I went for the Audi, which I don't think anyone in this tier went for. It turned out to be a fantastic car. Good top speed, good in the corners as well. But no one really fancied it. Here comes Juho on Bendit. This is technically for the race lead. Bendit covers it off beautifully. Keeps the position in P2. Now let's see what the NSX can do as the stint wears on, because, well, he's actually got better tyre life. Well, pretty similar to Juho's. Different tyres are wearing at different rates between the two of them. Lexus of Munken is looking pretty strong. He's sticking with this lead pack. He has been caught though as well at the same time by Shadow Wolf. His fastest lap is still only a 46.6, some way off what Udale's set. Wow, 45.7 is pretty decent in a feature. Ooh, especially for tier 4. Yeah, Shadow can't really do anything at the moment. Munken really slidey out of that corner as they're going to allow Shadow to pull in, but there's no chance of a move there. Final corner again. Let's see what the exit looks like. 3, 4 and 5 all separated by about 1 second, it looks like. And he's in the 47, so he is losing a lot of time behind Munken now. Affecting his progress to get to the front of the field for sure. Let's have a little check-in on our race leader, Monty. He's still on his own, still in the 47s, 47.7 compared to a 48.3 that Bendit set, so it is still looking good for him compared to the rest of the field. Juho looking a little bit out of sorts here, and Shadow, oh no, Munken's lost a position actually, so it's not Juho out of sorts. No, never mind. Shadow's been trying to get past Munken for the last little while. So yeah, Juho was out of sorts, apologies. Munken's trying to make a move himself, but he's going to get caught a little bit here by Shadow, who had a really good run up the hill, not having to be side by side or compromise with his line, but it's still not going to be enough for him to pull alongside here. Really nice bus stop there for Shadow. He's trying to take a wider line entry and a tighter line exit to get a good run into the next corner. And it is a good run. Munkin placing his car absolutely beautifully in the middle of the track there, covers off any chance of a move from Shadow. Got Matthew not too far behind, still trying to recover. Now what can Munkin do here? Bendit's joined this battle now as well, so Bendit seems to be struggling a little bit more on the hards than he was on the mediums. Good little run here for Shadow. He's nice. He's going to have to be brave in the braking zone if he wants to go for it. He decides not to. Ooh, that would have been really tempting to do a bit of a dive there. It is one of the corners that you can get away with a dive bomb. Again, Munkin really struggling. Munkin's just said he's coming into the pits, so Shadow's backed off a little bit now. Ooh, he's going to have to try and get alongside. Monty's in as well, so the two Lexuses have obviously been talking about what their strategy should be here. Doing the exact same thing. So they're going to drop out of contention. We've now got Bendit, who's about to take P1, but it might not be for long because Duo's really close behind him. And this is going to be a slipstream battle down to the next braking zone. This is a good gap for Juho to try and close in, and he does have some really good slipstream here. Now the track straightens up, he's going to be able to, oh, well, Bendit covers the inside, he's going to try and go around the outside. Really hairy corner to go side by side in the entry to the bus stop. Juho decides to back out of it, see how Bendit takes it. Bendit still takes it really well despite the compromised line, and keeps P1. Shadow not too far behind, but these two having a nice little battle here. Bendit putting the car down the middle into the next corner. His exit might be a little bit compromised here if Juho could get on the power early enough, which doesn't look like he could. He put a tyre into the grass on the inside there. Now here comes Shadow to join the party as well, so Juho's in the position now where he's trying to get an overtake done on Bendit, or he's going to be overtaking himself, and a poor exit there for Juho means that Shadow might be able to get the move fully done by the braking zone here. And Juho gives it up. He does brake a little bit earlier than Shadow. Shadow takes the corner, and now he's up into P2 with a real shot at the victory here. He's on the medium tyres, and they are still looking fairly good. The last couple of laps are going to be really dodgy for him, but if he can get past Bendit before that happens, he could protect his lead here. So Bendit under a lot of pressure. And he's coming in? What is happening here? Bendit coming into the pits. A precautionary stop or a rookie mistake. Yeah, it looks like a rookie mistake to me. So that completely changes everything. Shadow is now our race leader. Juho is in second. Matthews found himself back in the podium positions. The Charizard is up in fourth place. Bendit didn't put in any fuel. He's obviously going onto the soft tyres here, giving everyone in the top 10 a free position. Should have really stayed out there and fought for the win. Yeah, that's a strange decision. Don't understand it. Shadow, meanwhile, has the opportunity. Basically, what I was saying on Shadow versus Bendit applies to Shadow versus Juho. He's now got slightly fresher tyres. He seems to have the pace on everybody to try and build up a bit of a lead. Goes a little bit wide there, but no dramas. Before the last couple of laps where he's going to surely get reeled in, and it's going to be all a question of how good he is at managing his tyres right at the end of the race. Matthew coming under pressure from Charizard now. We might make it a Citroen podium here. Oh, and he sends it really deep around the outside. Unintentionally again, Matthew covers it off pretty nicely, saw what was happening and reacted to it. Juho losing a bit of time, going very deep into that corner. Falcon doing well in P5 as well, in the Ford GT. Udelay's recovered beautifully up into 6th as well. Wally was in the top 3, dropped to 7th. Zelda, I think, is going to have to come in. Those tyres aren't going to last. See if he comes in on this lap. He's ahead of Jezza. So Jezza in the top 10 now. Survived the hard stint. No, Dosler's going around again. Monty on the softs, meanwhile, is going to try and make some more progress. Bend it on the softs a little bit further back as well. Finishing his outlap there. Oh, I think he's avoided the penalty there. Yeah, he has. But it has stopped his momentum up the hill. Let's see what's going on a bit further up. Matthew has lost a position to Charizard. So where'd that happen? Because he's not under any pressure here. Oh dear. I think that one might have been reported and might have got a penalty. I think I might remember that one. Which if that did get reported and that did get a 5-second, I think that is absolutely fair. So Matthew down into P4. Juho has lost probably two and a half seconds now to Shadow. Still lapping pretty good for him, but Shadow is 8, 6, 7 tenths, can't count, ahead on the previous lap. So he is still gapping him nicely. His tyres are still looking pretty good, considering he's only got 2.5 laps to go. So they might not even go off here. So the top 3 are looking a little bit settled. Oh, well, Matthew's actually under pressure from Falcon here. Oh, and he got another shunt! Oh no, what is going on? Well, Falcon lets him carry on. Let's see that again. Let's see that again. Matthew's tyres going off, Falcon's tyres are pretty much dead as well, so that might have affected his braking into the corner, but yeah. You can't go full tilt into a corner when you've got a car right in front of you, especially if it's a Dodge, which corners poorly. Oh, you thought all the tyres were required? No, man. Well, you know what? At least you've shown that you've got the pace to win. That's the main thing when you're joining. Obviously, in your first season, you join as a reserve. You're not expected to win the whole thing off the first bat. This is basically a practice go for next season when you become full-time from the start and you can have a better car pick and all that kind of stuff. Charizard putting some pressure on Juho now, trying to make it a Citroen 1-2 in the sprint and the feature. 2 laps to go. Really late on the brakes for Charizard. And surely the switch back is on for Juho. It's going to be a drag race now between the two of them. Charizard's going to have to go a little bit wide around this corner as a result. Can Juho keep it in full throttle? Charizard gives him the space. This is a nice little battle up the hill. Seen Tier 1 drivers just cut each other off there. So you guys have done pretty good. Now a little bit side by side into the corner. Juho wins the battle. Now can Charizard get a better exit since Joe's line was compromised? He can't. Really good defending there from Juho, who's been here since, I think, Season 1, by the way. One of the OGs. Back when we just had one lobby on GT Sport, I wasn't even playing it. I was still playing the F1 game. Is Charizard going to start coming under a bit of pressure from Matthew now, potentially? Matthew and Falcon still really close. That's where they had their little moment on the previous lap. See, oh no, it's Udele. Udele's caught up, so Udele's actually got past Falcon and might fancy a late charge in this one. He's got much fresher tyres than Matthew. Matthew's going to have a really bad last lap. Let's see what Shadow's tyres look like. Ah, much better. Shadow has timed his pit stop perfectly here and managed his tyres beautifully. Which is pretty hard thing to do, especially when you're pretty new to the game, knowing how to drive the car to preserve the tyres. Charizard's still preserving the tyres as well, so the Citroen might just be good on tyres also. So we're starting our final lap. The top 3 are the Citroen of Shadow, the GTR of Juho, fending off from the other Citroen of Charizard. Really, really strong night for Team Citroen here. Especially with the Dodgers struggling a little bit. And Juho building a bit of a gap. What about Udele? Udele has the tyres, like we said, on Matthew. Matthew going defensive here. Side-by-side through bus stop isn't advisable. Falcon dropped a little bit too far off to be able to take advantage of Udele, really going cautiously in that corner. Now let's see what can happen at the front. Still a pretty decent gap for Juho. Shadow's just got a massive one. I think he's got the win sewn up. Juho coming in to... Would you even call this a hairpin? No, not really. Very low speed corner on a banking. Difficult one to get right. Matthew got overtaken. Right, let's go back and see what happened here. Looks like it was a couple of corners in the making. Udele on his fresher tyres, really getting a better exit out of the right-hander, and Matthew just braking really early compared to Udele. Udele trying to go the long way around, but couldn't get his car turned. Excuse me. Now Matthew still looking comfortable here. Gets a little nudge. The old push to pass. That's how that happened. Charizard, meanwhile, is getting a bit closer to Juho. Juho's tyres aren't really in trouble, and it's looking fairly good for them. So let's go to the front. We got Shadow with a couple of corners left, and he's taken a double win here after scoring 0 points in round 1. He scores almost the maximum. Just a couple of bonus points are left on the table, so that's a massive win there for Shadow, who's kick-started his championship challenge at this race in round 3. Juho a solid P2 ahead of Charizard in 3rd. Then we have Matthew, who's dropped behind Wally now, so his tyres, yeah, they're in puncture territory, so he's dropped back as a result of that. Just pitted a bit too early. And then we have Bendit in P7 after his late pit stop for the softs. Still decent, ahead of Monty, overtook Monty. Falcon dropped to 9th with his dead tyres, and Jezza in 10th. Rounds out the top 10 in the Dodge. Munkin in 11th in the end, with incredibly dead tyres. Yeah, Dose Slayers are completely dead as well, guys. You can't be finishing races with tyres in the red, because you just lose huge amounts of time. Same for Khan, he still had a little bit of life, but that lap was a 52. Then we have NTO overtaking Rocket for P14. And in last place, unfortunately for Boa, again on the dead tyres. That's 4 laps in a row outside of the 50s. Not great pace. So yeah, main takeaways, guys, do your homework on the feature races here. You can't afford to be driving on completely dead tyres. You might as well pit the extra time, because you're going to lose that amount in a pit stop. Hopefully that was a big lesson for you guys after round 3. I'm going to do round 4 a little bit later. I want to watch the qualifying, the F1 qualifying, and then eat, and then I'll be back for round 4 at Saint Croix. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Join you then.